Welcome back, guys, to the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, where last episode, the trial of Barak Van Zieks began with the defendant himself called to the stand, giving us the facts of the incident that he knew of as we press to learn more, with Kazma shutting things down entirely by pointing out the dark room the Barak's version of events happened in should have been lit by the other two candles of the candelabrum that burned away unimpeded by having their end blown off. With that, Kazuma moved on to a new set of witnesses, the street sellers outside the premises as the crime took place, as we now hear their account. We saw the whole thing from start to finish, we did. Everything from the moment they went in the building. It was less than a minute after the Reaper had gone inside that we all heard a big bang. Seems to me that quick to talk is quick to walk. Gossip couldn't wait to go and see what happened. I ran into the room and there he was, the Reaper, gun in hand, standing over the dead body. I was scared half to death, me, so I ran off to find a copper. If these witnesses were there the whole day and saw everything, who did they see going inside the building? Only the victim, Inspector Gregson, and the accused, Barak Van Zieks. I've seen pictures of that Reaper in the paper. I know what he looks like. And just between us, folk love stories like this. I've made myself a tidy sum already. But wait, the room was just one of several flats in the building. Someone from another flat could have done it. All those flats on Fresno Street are unoccupied. Of course they are. They're small, damp, dirty, and expensive to boot. The room in which the inspector was found is the only property in the building that's currently leased. And we know the leaseholder's name, don't we? It's Hugh Boone.
The testimony the court has just heard would appear to leave little room for doubt. It's becoming increasingly difficult to see how anyone other than the defendant could have committed the crime.
No. Thank you for your candor, my lord.
Counsel for the defense, you may proceed to cross-examine the witnesses.
Yes, my lord. In a close court like this, without a jury, the judge is the only person whose opinion matters. I have to break down this testimony. Somehow. The witness's account. Let's cross-examine. We saw the whole thing from start to finish, we did. Everything from the moment they went in the building. Hold it! When you say they, who do you mean exactly? Inspector Gregson and the defendant, Lord Van Zieks. Oh, I suppose so. The likes of us don't know the names of the high and mighty. But I'll tell you one thing. It was the old Reaper that went in last, that's for sure and certain. Just behind Inspector Gregson. Did they arrive at the same time as each other? No, not at all. The first fella must have gone inside a good 15 minutes before we heard that gunshot. The victim arrived 15 minutes before. Are you sure about that? Am I sure? Doesn't seem likely that I'd have forgotten a fella with bright red hair like that, does it? Yeah, his hair really were red, wasn't it? Redder than my flaming fireworks even. That fiery red mop still burnt on the inside of my eyelids, it is. Wait a minute, you're saying the man was a redhead? Weren't you listening, chum? Aye, he was a redhead. And he had a big trunk with him as well. But Inspector Gregson's hair isn't red. Not by any stretch of the imagination. It seems likely that the person you saw wasn't in fact Inspector Gregson at all, but some other third party. No, I hate to break it to you, but the witnesses are correct. Oh my god, that trunk. What? Just have a look at this photograph of the victim taken at the scene. Yes, that's Inspector Gregson, all right. And a red hairpiece. Ah! Of course, we saw one on the floor when we investigated the scene, didn't we? I still refuse to believe Inspector Gregson wore a hairpiece, though. So then why on earth would he have been wearing something like that?
The color does seem to suit the man, one might say. The photograph will be submitted as evidence. Please, counsel.
The photograph of the victim has been entered into the court record. And what became of the trunk that the red-headed victim was supposedly carrying? I was informed that no trunk was found at the scene. So it just disappeared. What? Do you expect us to have been watching the building every second, do you? We definitely saw him in the dock going in, though. No question about that. It was less than a minute after the Reaper had gone inside that we all heard a big bang. Hold it! By which presumably you mean the gunshot. I sell these little things, don't I? How would I know what a gunshot sounds like? But I've always thought it probably sounds a bit like this, doesn't it? No, but... And you say that you heard the noise almost as soon as you saw the defendant here enter the building. That's right. It was almost straight away. Bang, it went. Just like that. Well, he's the Reaper, isn't he? It's what the French call a fait accompli. When the Reaper's around, people are going in the ground. I mean, that's what he does, isn't it? I think we get the message. The Reaper couldn't allow the inspector to live after he discovered his secret hideout. There can be no clearer motive for the crime.
Yes. It's certainly an eminently credible motive.
Great. And at that point you ran inside, is that correct? Seems to me that quick to talk is quick to walk. Gossip couldn't wait to go in and see what had happened. Hold it! So when Gossip ran to see what had happened, did you go too? Well, me, I'm a bit hampered, see? All the signs are that I can't move very well. You were way behind, presumably, with that sandwich board around your neck and that big sign in your hand. What a great burden you bear. Pardon me for asking, Mr. Sandwich, but, is it possible you and I have met before? I'm not anybody, me. The signs are what makes me who I am now. I sign, therefore I am. So you weren't employed as an omnibus driver just under a year ago, then? Definitely not. I might be mistaken, but I believe his trembling has intensified, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, I agree. He's clearly been through a lot. Turn down King Henry Street and the Black Widower's Arms is just there. Oh dear, you've made him hide behind his sign. Life is full of surprises. I ran into the room and there he was, the Reaper, gun in hand, standing over the dead body. Hold it! So then you were the first person to arrive on the scene, is that right? I was. Kicked the door open like a professional, I did, and yelled out, "What's going off here?" Well, Van Zieks claims all he heard was a man's scream, though. And was it dark inside the room? Not dark at all. There were candles burning on the wall. Really? And there was a fella collapsed on the floor. Just between us, this is the first thing I noticed when I got inside. I see. Even though Lord Van Zieks claims not to have seen any such lights on the wall. Next thing I noticed was someone standing right beside the body. The accused, Bardock Van Zieks. That's right, the pale-faced Reaper himself. I was a little shocked, I won't deny it, but I'm no lily-livered coward. I stood my ground and gave that Reaper a cold hard stare myself. Ooh. Excuse me. Do you have something to add, Mr. Sandwich? It's really nothing to me. Empty the head I am, just two slices with no middle. So I don't even know what you could want with me. I think that maybe you just remembered something. Having heard Mr. Gossip's last statement, I mean. But what I think is we're all nothings, really. We try to dress ourselves up as something else, but at the end of the day, we're all just street sellers. That's enough out of you, Sandwich. Keep your trap shut now. Unless you want us to make you into a real sandwich. When he saw the Reaper, he fell clean over on his backside. That's it. Ah, you rotten beggar. I told you to keep that secret. He screamed, he did. Screamed and scrambled off on all fours. That's all I wanted to say. Mr. Gossip, is this true? The floor was dead slippery, that's why. I had my hand in a filthy pool of blood, didn't I? Yuck. What? A pool of blood? Well, listen here. Even when I was sprawled on the floor, I still kept giving that Reaper a cold hard stare. Don't you forget it. Let's just go back a little. Did you say you got blood on your hand? Did I? Happens to the best of us at times, doesn't it? So I was scared, so I slipped over. We can keep it just between us, can't we? No, Mr. Gossip, I'm going to have to ask you to add that information to your formal testimony. If I must.
The witness will amend his testimony to include the aforementioned details at once.
I slipped over and got blood on my hands, so I quickly wiped it off on the floor. Do you definitively wipe it off on the floor? Because that would be interesting. To press or to present? Because, of course, we have a notice board with a bloody handprint on the back side, which would be very weird for him to get a handprint on. It kind of makes you feel like this notice board was on the ground at the time. If that is true. Which would mean the crime scene itself has been edited after the fact. Is that something we can use? To present or not?
Objection!
So you wiped off the blood from your hand on the floor of the room. Are you quite sure about that? Well, what else do you expect me to have done, eh? Does it really matter?
Objection!
The police found no such handprint on the floor during their investigations. What exactly is the defense asserting? If you listen, you'll find out, Prosecutor Asugi. Certainly, there was no bloody handprint found on the floor. What are you trying to say? There was a handprint in blood left very clearly at the scene. On the back of this notice board.
Yes, indeed. Indisputably a handprint in the distinctive color of blood.
Aye, you're dead right. That's my right hand. I'd know it anywhere.
Objection!
The witness very definitely testified that he wiped his hand on the floor. Any handprints on the back of the board are irrelevant.
Objection!
Not if the board itself had fallen over onto the floor. In that case, it's quite possible for the witness's handprints to have ended up there. Just look at the floor plan of the room. The notice board was in the opposite corner of the room to the victim and in an upright position. Even if it had somehow been toppled and was lying on the floor at the time, it would have been a considerable distance from the body. I fell over when I came across the body, so I was basically right next to the corpse, not on the other side of the room. In other words, the defense's assertion is contradictory. Yes, it is. That's the point. There's a very definite contradiction here, for which there must be a reason.
I take it that you formulated a proper hypothesis, counsel. Regarding this apparent discrepancy between the witness's account and the handprint found at the scene.
I have, my lord. This discrepancy between the witness's account and the location of the handprint is explained by another handprint, the board moving, false testimony. Obviously, it's this one. The real contradiction here is the handprint itself, not where it was found. As the court can see, it's upside down.
Good gracious, so it is! If the witness had put his hand against the board, the finger should be pointing upwards.
What? What does that tell us? It tells one simple fact. When this handprint was made, the board must have been lying on the floor as I previously suggested. Which means that after the incident, it must have been moved. What?
Objection!
You're claiming that somebody moved the notice board after the shooting. And tell the court who. I don't know that yet, but the point is, when you consider all the testimony we've heard so far, you can now be very clear on one point.
And that would be...
the position of the notice board at the time of the incident, my lord.
So, counsel, I must ask you to clarify your assertion for the court. At the time of the incident, where do you maintain the notice board was situated?
I mean, it's right next to the body then. So you'd have to say it was like here. Maybe it got knocked down by the door? It's a possibility, I guess.
Take that!
This is the only possible location.
Immediately adjacent to the doorway.
If the court would think back to the testimony given by the defendant earlier, he said that when he entered the room, it was dark, and he couldn't see the body. Why heck? If the notice board had been here, the body would have been completely hidden from view, and the light from the candles would have been blocked, making the room appear darker.
Objection!
The accused also claims that the victim's body simply appeared before him. That's true. Or, in his precise words, just as I picked the firearm up to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me. I don't know about calling it a scream, but he was talking about me and no mistake. Because it was me that kicked the door open. If you look again at the floor plan, consider what would happen if the door to the room was thrown open with force. That can't. The door struck the notice board, knocking it over and making the victim's body visible.
Good gracious!
My client has told nothing but the truth. He has simply described what he saw. Ah!
Order! Order! Counsel, ours has not come to light before now.
After the incident, somebody must have righted the board and moved it into the position where the police, myself, and my colleagues saw it when investigating the room.
A witness, what have you to say for yourself?
What? Me, my lord? You and your fellows were there at the scene before anybody else. It goes without saying that you must know something about the position of the notice board.
The witnesses in the stand will testify again. You will each explain exactly what you did upon arriving at the scene of the crime.
Stop looking over your glasses at me. I get the message. Straight into another testimony. The mystery of the moving board. I don't know anything about that there notice board. I just want my hand on it, that's all. Well, don't look at me. I haven't got a clue about it. I was doing business with some second years at the time. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me. Just a sign at the crossroads of life. It was the Reaper, I bet. He's got a face that screams bored. I can't see how this changes anything anyway. The detective still died when we heard the gunshot.
So none of you can elaborate further.
Shaken by the crime they witnessed, and with only the light of a few candles and an oil lamp by which to see, we can't expect these witnesses to be able to give a more precise account of what happened. That's right. Yeah, you don't pay to expect too much. It's man's endless quest for knowledge that's just destroying the world. That's what I think. Do you? Really? In any case, as this testimony shows, even if the notice board was moved by somebody following the incident, it makes no difference. When the gunshot rang out, the accused was the only person at the scene. In short, the only person who could possibly have committed this crime is Baruch Van Zieks. And none of this wrangling over the board changes that simple fact.
Quite so, quite so. Does the defense still wish to cross-examine the witnesses despite the circumstances?
Most certainly, my lord.
Very well. Then you may proceed, counsel.
The mystery of the moving board. I don't know anything about that there, no sport. I just want my hand on it, that's all.
Hold it!
So you admit that it was the board you wiped your bloody hand on? Admit it? What's to admit? It's there plain as day for all to see. I smashed and print in my right hand. Perhaps you wanted to hide that handprint. So you righted the notes board and pushed it into the corner, did you? No. Imagine the weight of that great lump. Do I look like a powerful and well-nurtured man? Well, did you see anybody else moving the board? I've got nerves of steel, I can tell you, but even I have my limits. There was a body on the floor in front of me, and the Grim Reaper himself standing over it. And there was precious little light inside either. My bottom lip was all a quiver. In other words, this witness is unable to give definite testimony on that point.
Yes, so it would seem.
Well, don't look at me. I haven't got a clue about it. I was doing business with them second years at the time.
Hold it!
When you say you were doing business with them, you mean you were selling them fireworks? Yeah, what else? There's the Priory School just around the corner, see? Those cheeky little so-and-sos have got a plan to blow their school to kingdom come. So I've been telling on them, letting their teachers know what they're up to. Oh, you have? Yeah, I wouldn't want anyone to get hurt, so I let the school know the kids are playing with dodgy toys. Then, praise the Lord, the teachers take all the fireworks off them. And then, praise the Lord again, the kids all come back to me to buy more. Everyone's happy, see? What a racket. Of course, and sometimes the teachers give me a little bonus to thank me for letting them know. It's a busy old life, selling explosives.
Venus is a guileful goddess indeed.
Well, telling barefaced lies is kind of my thing, really. I'm ever so good at it. Okay.
Excuse me.
You have a lot to say. Something wrong, Mr. Sandwich? If I said it was, can we just leave it at that? Would that be the end of it? No. Did Miss Venus's statement just now bring something to mind, perhaps? Philosophical thoughts. Deep philosophical thoughts. Huh? Let's say there was a great liar, and that great liar said, without batting an eye, telling barefaced lies is kind of my thing, I'm ever so good at it. Would those words of hers be a lie too, or the truth? In which case, she's not a liar. Oh, it's a hellish paradox, that one. Don't you think? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But it seems to me you're suggesting Miss Venus has been lying. Are you? What are you on about, old man? Trying to cause trouble, are you? Keep on like that, and I'll wrap your whole body in firecrackers and set them off. That'll give you something to tremble about.
You have a startlingly disturbing mind behind that sweet and innocent face, young lady.
So, Miss Venus has lied in her testimony. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Sandwich? Well, if it means I'll be burning in hellfire for the rest of my days, so be it. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Can you elaborate, please, sir? Oh, blabbermouth here, headed for the room where the gunshots seem to come from. But there was someone else who crept up the stairs behind him too. That's right. That rotten liar over there. Heh.
Do you mean to say that you did in fact betake yourself to the scene of the crime after all?
What did I tell you, eh? I said I was good at telling barefaced lies, didn't I? Yes, you mentioned it. Well, that revelation rocked the whole courtroom, didn't it? Who knew firecrackers packed such a punch?
So you did indeed visit the scene of the crime, did you, young lady? Good grief.
Well, now you come to mention it, I suppose perhaps, I do clearly remember climbing the stairs to the room, yeah.
Either you clearly remember it or you don't. Well, I shall consider a fitting punishment for this perjurious act later. For the time being, you will immediately amend your testimony to reflect the truth.
Oh yes, my lord, of course. Maybe I did sneak along behind gossip and have a little peek into the room where it all happens.
I guess we're gonna have to learn about this.
Hold it!
You make a habit of lying, do you, Miss Venus? Well, I suppose so. I don't really know, to be fair. If you want my advice, though, I take everything I say with a big pinch of salt. All right, but you did in fact go to the room where the victim was killed on the day in question, didn't you? Oh, please, as if I would. I can't think of anything more terrifying.
The truth, please.
Well, all right, just a bit then. I mean, a girl my age is curious about stuff, you know?
Did you touch anything at the scene?
Oh, please, as if I would. I mean, there was a dead body on the floor.
The truth, please.
Well, all right, just a bit then. I had a look to see if there was anything I could sell. So I did give the place a once-over, but it was nothing to write home about.
Right, now, I hesitate to ask, but you didn't move the notice board by any chance, did you?
Oh, please, as if I would touch anything like that. Just a few bits of loose change is all I had.
The truth, please.
Well, all right then. I thought there might be something worth having underneath it. So I blasted the flipping thing. Sorry, flip the blasted thing.
You're telling us that you did move that board?
I think that did slip out, didn't it?
What? You daft bomb pot! I don't believe it! The girl doesn't think!
So, did you find anything then?
Something that you might have taken, perhaps, to sell.
Oh, please, I should be so lucky in my imagination.
The truth, now!
I might have found this old pocket watch under the notice board, I suppose. But a bit of junk like this can't be worth much if you ask... Ah! So it was you, was it? You're the one what took it!
Gina? A young lady, may I remind you where you are?
That watch there, that was a present to Inspector Gregson from the yard for a big case he solved 10 years ago. The professor case, no doubt. The boss used to wind it up every evening without fail when he was waiting for his grub to come at the pub.
I see.
I swapped it off him once and blimey was he upset. He gave me a rifle here. Said he hadn't missed a day in the last 10 years polishing it and winding it. It meant the world to him, that watch did.
Possibly not the best thing to go diving for then.
It's not all that, though. I took it to Jabez's that night to ask how much it was worth, but the old dealer wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't give me a penny for it. Said it wasn't working. Knocked about and worthless, he called it. Ah, I knew I should have lifted it.
That watch must be submitted as evidence at once.
Oh, please, just so long as you promise to give it back when we're done. Not a chance. I'll swipe it from you if you try to get your growing mitts on it again.
That's enough. Hand the watch to the bailiff forthwith.
Now, children, watch your manners.
Good Lord! The glass appears to be broken.
More than likely, it shattered when the inspector was shot. It doesn't tick anymore either. Which is why Jabez didn't want it. What a waste, eh?
Yes, indeed. It appears to have stopped at the hour of 5.
Exactly when the gunshot was heard, then. Which supports the prosecution's claim, of course. Gregson's watch has been entered into the court record. It's no longer ticking and the glass over the face is cracked.
Well, it would appear that the mystery of the moving notice board has been solved at least.
Like, really? Do you really think that? And as predicted, it had very little bearing on the case.
Now then, continue your cross-examination, please, counsel.
Well, I guess we will continue with this after getting this watch, but first of all, I want to examine said watch before we end another episode. So is there anything to really check out here extra? The glass over the face really is badly cracked, look. What a shame when the inspector clearly looked after it so carefully. I imagine Mr. Sholmes could repair it, don't you? Yes, I should think so. He's very adept at things like this. A useful man to have around, in fact. But can't you remember that he's a great detective, Mr. Nadahoda? Not an odd job man. But the real interesting point is right there. Ho, ho, ho. Interesting. Is that what the winder was all along? But what else does it have to hide for us? Well, I think we will continue looking at this next time, because it might lead us down the rabbit hole we need. Get some further evidence. So, with that said and done, join me next time for more Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, where we continue with our cross-examination, or more to the point, our evidence checking outing. I'll see you guys then for more. Bye-bye.